I was 18 and 3 days when I met homelessness for the first time, and that was on a Saturday. It was the first taste that I'd had of truly being alone. Now, I had my friends, but I was living in a rundown trailer. I spent 2 years there, and so eventually I joined the US Army and became a soldier. I was damn good at it too. I was trusted by my brothers, which probably meant the most. We went through a lot: blood, sweat, and definitely tears, and some of them didn't come home. And some of those who did come home never really actually came home. I got out of the Army and I had no idea that what I had gone through would affect me so much. And it took a while, months, years. I'm still doing it, I think. It's still happening. I'm still going through stuff and going back and trying to understand what it all meant. But we were there for each other. We still are. But unfortunately, I ended up finding my way to the bottle. I found my way home and I managed to fake the funk. I didn't think I was faking it, but I was. I was trying to work. I was living to party. I was living to get away. And I think that's the key part is I was living to get away. Because the pain of living 2 years as a homeless child and the pain of living as a soldier for four and having to face the inherent realities therein was having an effect on me. I was working hard. I had a lot of good stuff going on. And the best thing that ever happened in my life, the best thing I should say that ever came into my life was my dog Scout. He was a beautiful black Labrador that was born in a small apartment, in a small closet, a small room I rented above a bar in Montrose, California. I was there when he opened his eyes, and I was there when he closed his eyes. But what he got me through, what he did was he kept me alive. He also loved me. It's so loving. It was so beautiful. He was there when I became homeless again. And it was now the second time. I lost 3 jobs all in a month. I wasn't able to stay at my place, yet I still had to look after Scout. I had to find I had to find new work, nowhere to go, nowhere to keep him. But he was there sleeping in the back of my car, halfway in and out of his water bowl, because we didn't have any room for him to sleep. There was me trying to make it all go away for at least a couple hours for by downing a cheap bottle of vodka. I tried to I tried to stay in the know. I kept clean, stayed awake. I wanted to succeed, wanted to do well in life, make an impact. I just couldn't get rid of the ghosts. Scouts somehow made the ghosts not so scary. There was 2 more years of homelessness. I ended up finding a shelter or two, which was helpful. Christmas was hard. There we were looking through the window. I still remember it, at people and children with their families and their meals, packages under the tree, and children playing with their toys, and Scout and I standing out in the rain and the cold. No one to wish us a Merry Christmas, give me a warm hug or a special toy or a bone for Scout to make us feel special. We were completely alone, feeling unworthy, embarrassed, too embarrassed to be around family, feeling that everyone else was around their tree and that everyone else had somewhere to go to. It was really just me and him. But he never let me down, and my God never left me. He kept me going, he kept me fed, and miracles here and there would occur. Things that I can't explain. All I can say is that they did. I still remember when we got our voucher, when we got in our own place with a yard for Scout to run and play. Scout passed away on May 26th, 2019. It was a Wednesday. And I still think about him every day. You cannot think about someone that's been with you through all that and to that extent, being the only one that made you think that you were worth something in the world. People, through no fault of their own, sometimes don't allow you to feel that way. All I know is that I didn't. But if it wasn't for my affordable, supportive housing, I wouldn't be here. And now I work. I work to honor Scout. I work to honor my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who paved a way through all the turmoil, all the pain, wiped the tears from my face, and he carried me. So I went back into the pit, a pit that I suffered for so long to show others the way out. I do homeless street outreach. I've been doing it for close to 4 years now. See, it can't stop there. You got to let people know that what you see on the outside is just a fraction of the story there. I decided to tell my story because the pain was just too big. I heard too much not to tell the story. People need to understand that there's more to it. There's more to people, and that people fall into pits because life just takes us there sometimes. But it doesn't mean that we need to give up on them. We need to try and get them out. We need to try and show them the way. God showed Scout the way, and Scout showed me the way. And I'm trying to show others the way. And these stories need to be told, all of them. And they need to be told because they're important. This is history, it's our history. What we do now will define how we are seen tomorrow. Do we step over people while they suffer? Or do we shout together with one voice and say, no more? It's time to stop looking away and act. When I say I love my dog, I love my dog. I still love him every day and I miss him. I think of him every single day. But I don't think that when I say I love my dog, I don't think it does enough. Um, we suffered together. He never looked sideways at me once. Um, his best part of his day is being with me and vice versa. That's just how it was. It was so much more than enough. Um, so it kept me striving to keep going because I couldn't kill myself. I couldn't end my life like I wanted to. I couldn't just give up because I had him. My dog is my home. Scout was my home. He was what I called home. He was what I called love, and he was what I called family. Scout did what a person couldn't do. God knew that. He knew that I needed someone there that could make me realize it on my own. Scout was a really bright soul, really, really intelligent. Just I felt like I dumbed him down at times. I remember the first time I took him out backpacking with me and I had him on a leash. He was pulling and tugging and trying to do what a woodsy Labrador was created to do.
Mhm.
It wasn't until my buddy said, "Well, just let him go." We were out in the woods. There wasn't any trails per se. I mean, we were really going bushwhacking. And when I finally took him off leash and let him go, realizing that he wasn't going to run away, that he wasn't leaving me, but I could watch him chase ducks, jump in the pond and chasing these ducks, and then get out, shake off, jump from boulder to boulder
Oh my God.
in a single leap. And I was like, wow, I really felt through that camping trip. He would sit down next to the fire and he would curl up next to me. No leash. We were family. He wasn't going anywhere,
Mm.
but I really felt like I got to know him for what he was. This dog was created for so much more. and,
Right.
and being able to actually do that, to see him thrive, I said, we're going to do this a lot more. And we did. So I would take him out to the park after that and I'd throw the tennis balls. He loves to chase that tennis ball and bring it back. And I had a swimming pool and I would be inside and he'd be out in the shade or laying out in the sun and I'd hear the boosh, 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 boosh. And he would go in, swim a lap, come out, shake off, lay down, and here it was 15, 20 minutes later. So whoosh, and then right back in again. Here's a picture of him and me at Christmas time, right before I became homeless the second time.
Oh, sweet baby.
Aw.
Yeah, he was a good boy. We would we went and took pictures with Santa with him, and when I went back to school, and it's how I met Ann the first time. Graduated from our course, and I wanted to have him there with me, at
Yep.
the graduation. He came out, and he was the family that I wanted there. It was a course in how to do street outreach.
Okay.
Ann can speak to it a lot, but it was a really intensive course where we explored all facets of trauma informed care, understanding how to relate to people, specifically people that are going through it in homelessness, and it completely changed the direction of my life. That I had no intention of going down, but then understanding that my lived experience was not only valuable, but it was very important and special and could be used to help others. That people need to be out there and saying, no, it's okay. We're actually on your side here.
Yeah.
We're going to help you navigate this and protect you while we try and improve that quality of life. So,
Yeah.
it's a struggle. I still combat compassion fatigue. I still
Yeah.
get it. Sometimes I just want to throw my hands up in the air, turn around, and walk away. Um, but that's not why I'm here,
I mean, homeless street outreach is hands down the hardest job in homeless services. There's no question. People that make the decisions at the top don't really have the understanding of what the reality is on the ground. And so that's a lot of what this work, both the HEAL program that Scott was talking about to
Mhm.
train, it was called Health Employment Advancement Ladders. It was really about training peers, with lived experience to do work in the homelessness sector. We could really leverage that lived experience in a much more, meaningful way.
And you're living in a life of falling through the cracks, and there's a lot of cracks in the system.
Yes.
There just are. You have no reason to trust somebody that comes along and says, "Hey, I want to help."
Do you feel that in your outreach you can somehow play a small or large role in helping to repair those cracks in the system?
Yes and no, but with patience. Find some common ground. There's always ground to be found that's common. You just gotta keep looking. It's their right to not believe in me, but it doesn't mean that we can't be buds. When I can't say hi to you a few times, we're always trying to find foster parents for folks that are going into shelters or whatever might come up where they can have a loving place for their pets, um, which I admire. But it's very difficult. I went in kind of on the cusp of this whole emotional service animal revolution that started some years back, and Scout was so well behaved that he was the exception to the rule that dogs would be kind of a bad thing. Other people ended up getting dogs at the shelter. The ASPCA has been fantastic, and specifically in this one case, they
Mm,
ended up holding these cats for probably about 6 months. She ended up going into rehab. She just ended up thriving in that environment, got her cats back, reunited with her son. All these forces came together, and this life was completely turned around.
That is something that your experience helps you perceive. I think a lot of people who haven't struggled as much um will say oh, they won't understand that things happen. And
Hmm.
this can happen to anybody, and the lines
yeah.
are really,
Absolutely.
really blurry.
And I think there's a lot of people too that, judge people that are experiencing homelessness if they have animals. People that have done research, like Leslie Irvine, who's going to be at our conference, and wrote that book, My Dog Always Eats First, is always, is
Hmm.
about that whole, experience. That what she found was people experiencing homelessness with animals by and large were much more attentive to their animals' needs than even their own.
I remember when I couldn't feed Scout, and one of these organizations would provide a blanket, would provide a bag of dog food,
Right.
how much that meant. If someone's taking care of, the one thing that you love so much, it was a way to my heart. It was a way to
Yeah.
my heart, and it's what made me believe in the resources. You were taking care of my son,
Hmm.
and that means that you're a good guy. You're one of the
Right.
good guys.